All right, let's talk about a word you hear literally everywhere these days. The cloud. Your photos, your shows, your work, it's all in the cloud. But what in the world does that actually mean? Okay, let's demystify this thing.
I mean, what is it really? It's one of those buzzwords, right? Gets tossed around all the time, and for a lot of people, it's just this fuzzy technical concept. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and get a really clear picture.
You know, this whole confusion, it actually reminds me of that old story about the blind men and an elephant. One guy touches the tusk and says, it's a spear. Another one feels the leg and thinks, nope, it's a tree. They're all experiencing the same thing, but from their own limited perspective, they get a completely different and totally incomplete idea of the whole. And that, in a nutshell, is the problem with defining the cloud.
Okay, so if we want to see the whole elephant, we've got to change how we look at it. And the best place to start is by talking about what the cloud isn't.
And this is the first big mental shift you gotta make. The cloud isn't a single giant hard drive floating in the sky. Nope. It's not one specific piece of tech. It is a fundamental, new way of doing things.
And we're not just talking about a small tweak here. This is what you'd call a paradigm shift. It completely flips the script on how businesses, and even just us as individuals, use computer power.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. The key takeaway? It's a new way of thinking. And that new way of thinking is all built around one powerful idea: treating computing like a utility.
A utility? Yeah, just think about it. The electricity in your house, the water from your tap. You don't own a power plant, do you? Of course not. You just plug into the grid, use what you need, and pay your bill. That right there is the cloud model.
And this really shows the difference, right? The old way was you had to buy and maintain your own clunky, expensive, physical servers. Basically, you had to own the power plant. The new way? Piff, you just plug into the grid and pay for the computing power you actually use. It's a game changer.
And that's the whole idea. You get all this incredible power, on demand, without the massive headache and cost of owning all the gear behind it. It's all about access over ownership.
And there's actually a name for this: utility computing. The important words here are as needed and specific usage. It's a pay-as-you-go deal that just completely changes the game for who can access serious computing power.
So, okay, how does this all work? What's the secret sauce that makes this whole utility thing possible? Well, it pretty much boils down to 5 key ingredients that make the cloud, well, the cloud.
But before we get into the nitty-gritty, you have to remember that at the end of the day, all of this stuff exists to do one thing: provide a reliable service. You, the user, just want it to work, period. And that promise is usually backed up by something called a service level agreement, or an SLA. So let's look at what makes that promise a reality.
All right, here they are, the big 5. We're talking about the cloud's ability to grow on a dime, to always be on, to be easy to manage, to be accessible from literally anywhere, and all while staying super fast. Let's break them down.
First up, scalability and elasticity. So picture this: your website suddenly goes viral. Instead of crashing, the cloud just automatically spins up more power to handle all the traffic. And then when things calm down, it scales right back down. For you, it just feels like you have infinite resources.
Next, availability and reliability. This one's simple. You expect the lights to work when you flip the switch, right? Well, you expect your cloud service to be there too. It's built with all this clever stuff like fault tolerance, which is just a fancy way of saying that even if a piece of it breaks, the whole thing keeps on chugging along.
Number 3, manageability. This is all the stuff that happens behind the curtain. It's the automation, the monitoring, and really importantly, the billing system that keeps track of exactly what you use. That's what makes the pay-as-you-go model work. It's like your electric meter, but for computing.
Okay, number 4, accessibility. This just means you can get to it from anywhere, on any device, as long as you're connected to the network. It's the reason you can start a show on your TV, pause it, and pick it up on your phone on the bus, right where you left off. That's the cloud at work.
And last but not least, performance. To make sure everything feels snappy and quick, the cloud uses some really smart tricks. Things like load balancing, which basically spreads the work out across lots of different computers so nothing gets bogged down.
All right, so this all sounds pretty incredible, right? And for the most part, it is. But it's not a perfect utopia. To get the full picture, we have to talk about some of the bumps in the road, the challenges that come with it.
Yeah, it's definitely not all smooth sailing. There are some really big questions that come up. Things like, is my data actually safe? Can I control the costs? Do I even have the skills on my team to manage all this? And what the heck happens if the internet goes down? And let's be real, security is almost always #1 on that list. I mean, you're handing over your most important data to another company. That takes a massive leap of faith. You have to really trust their security, how they handle who gets access, and their privacy rules to make sure you don't end up in the headlines for a data breach.
So, let's wrap this all up. What's the big takeaway here? It's that the cloud isn't a place, it's not a thing, it's a new model for computing. It's a utility, just like your power or water, that has become this invisible backbone for our entire digital world.
And that just leaves us with one really cool question to think about. When electricity became a common utility, it sparked this incredible explosion of new inventions that no one saw coming. Light bulbs, radios, you name it. So now that we have this almost unlimited computing power available to anyone, anytime, what's the next amazing thing we're going to build with it?